Global Affairs analyst Chuks Mwoko joins us now, and he will bring us up to speed with understanding some of the implication of what's going on across the world. Chuks, good morning. It's good to have you.
Good morning.
Right now.
Morning.
Now, there's that air of uncertainty everywhere in the world right now, especially when one is waiting to see what move Iran is going to make right now. Are we seeing a third world war?
I had said that there's going to be a third world war this year, and that other 50 events were going to happen in the year 2020.
Your predictions?
Is it predictions? It's there in the air. You don't need to be a prophet to know that things are going to happen.
Right. But we are not prophets here, so we're not able to see them yet.
The information is in the air. But this just came to me. I thought it just happened too early in the year. I know that we're going to have crisis and all that. But talking about uncertainty, which you talked about, I think it's become our duty to join the European leaders to begin to de-escalate this. Because even in my room, I am not comfortable with what is going on all over the media. So I think it's become our responsibility to join the United Nations and join other leaders who are insisting that we begin to de-escalate this, whatever, since we don't know really where it's going to lead to. Now, whether the uncertainty, I believe, going to have its positive effect if they go into war. Nigeria will benefit like we did in 1973, economically speaking. But loss of lives and all the other things that we cannot really tell that it will lead to. I think that the best way to do is speak in the opposite direction, speak differently from other people, that there is need to de-escalate, stop these threats, stop this.
But I wonder what impact all of this persuasion, all of this talk to de-escalate is going to have on Iran that is already, working.
It's just emotion.
That is very hurt right now.
Yeah, they are very hot.
Yeah.
So it's just emotion. It will take time. But for those of us who are here and all over the world, all these TV commentators and all of us, we need to join forces in empathizing with the Iranians. Because this man that was assassinated was not just an Iranian. He was a general. In real sense of being a general, he led from the front.
Yeah.
It's not like here where you have people who are generals, but never went to war front.
Perhaps,
beside the supreme leader in Iraq, Iran, he's seen as the most respected individual in Iran.
And there's a reason for it. It's provided that military leadership, that political leadership, is been able to represent Iran in almost in every nation in that region. So it's something he earned. And he's going into the heart of the people. So this pain that they're feeling, it's our responsibility to empathize with them and all that. So whatever it is that they're saying,
I wonder how this empathy will rub up on how they are feeling right now. Because when you look at President Rouhani's statement, he said, America does not understand how grave an error they have committed.
Whether they understand it or not, it's our job to say, look, calm down, let the threat stop. And then we also talk to the Americans, talk to Donald Trump. That he needs to stop. He needs to calm down. He needs to understand that a very important personality has been killed for whatever reason.
Is it that he didn't know before he carried out this?
I don't know whether he knows, but even if he knew, he probably didn't estimate accurately what was the outpouring of the emotions and the impact, global impact this thing is going to have. You can't turn to any channel and just listening to what other events or news. So he probably didn't give it, a deep thought. So now that it has happened and this thing is going on, Trump himself needs to stop. He needs to stop reacting, and then we can face these people who have lost their son and their general and their leader. And
all right, let's look at a scenario where Iran decides not to listen to any persuasion. Iran decides not to listen to anybody but carry out what they want in their mind, because the UN, the Iranian the permanent representative, the UN, has made it clear that Iran is certainly going to revenge and that Americans are going to cry, whatever it is. But right now, what implication would that have for a country like Nigeria when it comes to, because we have a very large Shia Muslims within the country. What security challenges or what implications would it have on Nigeria?
It's going to have the same implication that it's going to have that is going to have in the Middle East. but it's words that we need to speak. They don't need to. You know that Iran, they are going to retaliate. Just that I don't think it's going to be now. And I'll ask them to calm down, because anything you do out of emotions right now, you're going to also make the same mistakes that, that Trump has made. And by the way, war does not benefit anybody from anything. They fought a war before with their neighbors.
The Gulf War.
The Gulf War. They fought a Gulf War here, and they're involved in all kinds of crises. And that has left their economy in tatters.
They've not recovered from
They have not recovered
today.
So if you're threatening these things and all that, the man you're threatening is also going to retaliate. By the way, you know that when Trump was going to kill this man, he didn't say, this is the second time he's done, this is outrageous stuff. Without telling anybody, we just wake up and we hear he's taking out somebody. So let them stop right now and nurse their wounds, and whatever compensation or whatever we need to do to make them happy again. But this threat must stop, because you don't really know how it's going to end. They are telling you they're going to take out Trump. They need his head. They are going to pay $80 million.
Yeah.
They're going to do this, they're going to do that. Now, for me, these are just mere outpouring of emotions. If you do those things out of emotions, you probably will regret it, because Trump is not ready to tell you what he's going to do next.
There was about 13 containers of cache of arms that were seized by the Nigerian authorities, and from investigation, so from some reports say that Ismail Kani, who has been appointed to replace, to succeed Soleimani, was at that time had the responsibility of financial oversight for Africa. What implication will it, because a lot of analysts are looking at the tendencies that if there is an agenda towards Africa or even Nigeria, which has a very large population of Shiite movement and all of that, that this war can have a direct impact on Nigeria.
I don't know how prosperous these Shiites who are located in Nigeria, I don't know how prosperous and how comfortable it is, because for you to go into war, you really need to be fed. Maybe they're giving them a lot of money. But the straight answer is that US and Iran, they are in this war. And what is the problem? It's just power, you know, trying to prove that I'm more powerful than you. That's what it is. And so what are they doing? America for decades has enjoyed showing its power all over the world. I became a global police for the whole world and all that. The state called New Mexico in America, you need to go and find out how that state was acquired. They were supposed to go into this peace mission about 200 years ago with Mexico. And they got to the place and raided the place. And that's how they annexed the whole of that land. It's a very large land expanse. It became whatever. That's what Iran is also doing in the Middle East. And they've done, gone very far, you know, in Hezbollah, in Yemen, and all that. They're wanting to come into Nigeria or have influence over Nigeria. We have seen over the years, and every time we've been able to survive them, that attempt has failed and all that and all that. I think that they need to stop so that we can have global peace. Because is this a desire to expand your territorial control and acquire and have influence and all that for religious reason, for whatever reason that is causing this global whatever? Because Mike, you and I are not safe. Nobody is safe in the world anywhere. Anybody who tells you the reverse is not telling you the truth. Now imagine from where they picked up this man. America has that advanced technology to pick up you and I here. I think that the way to go is to begin to speak peace and begin to pay attention to your citizens like they do in UAE. I don't understand how these Iranis are sharing boundaries with UAE and don't follow what they are doing in that place by caring for their own citizens. That's one way of
it's just like the South Korea and North Korea.
So
I
think that our government needs to continue to do what they are doing by watching these people and providing for them and making sure that they subject themselves to our secular status as a nation and obey our constitution and plead with the world to talk to Iran to leave Nigeria out of this.
Unfortunately, Iran is not a secular state. It's an Islamic state.
Exactly, but we are a secular state. That needs to be respected. And we also need to talk to America. This is your expansionist ideology. After how many years? After 155 years and all of that, it needs to abate. You need to begin to change the way things are done.
Who do you think that these countries can listen to? Because there has been talks about...
Big question.
I wonder, who can they listen to? Influence, who can influence them to change their minds
Unfortunately,
on this?
unfortunately a very legitimate question. United Nations has lost its
clout.
That clout, that power, that focus. I mean, any statement they put out right now, nobody listens to them. They have completely lost her, especially after the Second World War. They've not been strong in making decisions. And you know that the decision they made concerning Germany led to the Second World War.
Yeah.
So they don't have what it takes to do that. But we need to begin to talk to friendly nations. Iran has friendly nations. They need to sit down and talk. They have Arab League. Within the Arab League, they still have friends. They need to stop. And let me tell you one other reason why they need to stop. For many years and for many occasions, they tried to take out Israel. It didn't work. So they need to sit back and ask, why is it that we were not able to take out this small nation? War does not provide any solution to anything. Because at the end of the day, there are some of those nations that have discovered that we need to be friends with Israel, so that all those economic sanctions and boycotting Israel hasn't done anything. They've realized that technology, medicine, and all that has kept their children safe. So we need to begin to preach peace and tell Trump to stop also.
Okay. Now you see what happened in Abuja, and there has been concerns raised that Africa, and in fact Nigeria, could emerge a venue for confrontation between the U.S. and Iran because of all of these interests.
My counsel is that there will be no need for it. Because if you see what the United States did, and we're focusing on just the general that was killed, there were many other people who were killed in that incident. Nobody's talking about them. So I think that is a lesson for our brothers here from the northern part of Nigeria who belong to this sect, to recognize that we have first a nation, and that we have a constitution, and that we're a secular state, and that they can practice their faith without being disturbed. I believe that the federal government will not disturb them in practicing their faith, and that others should be allowed to practice their faith. But you're not going to allow and invite outsiders to come here and disrupt what we have been given. We cannot play around with what we have been given. Now, when these people are doing this, I don't think that they understand that America has a developed economy and a developed technology, deep developed technology that will allow them to take that man and his entourage the way they did. And you know, earlier I told you that we're not safe. What I meant that they have the technology to locate you and I here. These people that they are supporting and crying for and all that, do they have that kind of technology? Because it's easier said than done. You can make all the noise. But when this war starts, who is going to lose? Nigeria already has enough problem than inviting these religious and these, association that we're associating with these guys in that. They should allow us to live in our country. God has destined that we be here. Let us be here and manage our resources. Let America be there. If we need bilateral arrangement or friendship with them, let us go there. If we need with Iran and all that, Iran should leave us alone. I empathize with them. We should empathize with them. I think Buhari should call them and empathize with them. Our President Buhari should call them and empathize with them, because we live in a global village where we feel the pulse and pains of our brothers and sisters. But after that, we should mind our own business, grow our own economy. Poverty is growing. People are slipping into poverty every day. That should be our concern. And work towards 2023 to organize the election. We're not involved in their own affairs. They should leave us. So these young men and women who are protesting should go and look for work to do. Because a man who is busy doesn't get involved in that kind of thing.
All right.
We can empathize with them, but not protesting and burning flags and chanting death song and all that, and adding fear to the existing fire.
All right. America has its allies, and certainly Iran has its own allies as well. From the 2015 deal that most of the world powers were involved as a way of having an understanding with Iran, they've all, at least the U.S. pulled out. Iran has decided to also pull out of the agreement. Now, seeing it from the African perspective, most of African countries are members of the non-aligned movement, where if any world war breaks out now, we don't expect any African country to be directly involved. What position do you think African countries, especially with the leadership of Nigeria, what position should we take now concerning this?
I do not expect that war will break out, that will involve Nigeria. But if it does, the leadership that we'll have at that time will be very crucial. We have been our economy has been destroyed by terrorist acts. So whoever helps us to deal with the terrorist situation that we have, I think that's the person we should align with, because a lot of lives have been wasted up there in the north, in the northeast of Nigeria. So if war breaks out this week, that's what whoever will help us to deal with the crisis that we have in that place, I will advise that, we align with them and carry gun and go and fight.
Would you be one of those carrying the
gun? Why
gun?
not? If my president, do you know the beauty about Nigeria is that we have never really had an external aggression. All the problems we have always been internal. So if we have an external aggression, you're telling me that some neighboring country or some person will come here. It has happened before, where we have people from my village who went to war and who never came back. Those who came back many years after. And I was alive to have heard stories of those who went, who tell us about the Burma war and all that. Even though I don't know where, I now know where Burma is, even though they have changed their name. If it happens, Mike will live here. All of us, for patriotic purposes, we will carry gun and we'll go to war.
No, we have enough soldiers to handle that. So let's remain advocates within the studio.
All right, Chooks,
thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.